Welcome to the Natural Year Challenge Month 4 Food Edition. This is preparing and cooking with greens. And if you're like I was by any chance, that is overwhelmed with what do I do with all these greens, or I'm not sure how they'll taste, I understand. Give yourself some room and try things one at a time if it's new for you. We're going to start with making a green juice, and if you don't have a juicer, I do have a juicer, and that's what we do in the mornings. But if you don't, it's okay. You can use a high-powered blender. The Vitamix is ideal. I don't know, I haven't tried this in a regular blender, but I imagine you can do that too. So yesterday at our school we have a CSA, Community Supported Agriculture program. So I picked up, I'm enrolled, and every week we get $25 worth of produce and eggs, and this is what I got. So I'm going to use this in our juice. So I'm going to wash the greens, and to wash them you can either soak them in salt water or grapefruit seed extract. I'm just rinsing because it's easier. I got some carrots yesterday and I was so excited because the greens are just so full of nutrition. So I always try and juice them or use them somehow. Now that I've got them clean, I'm just gonna throw them in the blender. And if whatever I had on hand is what I would use. Just happens to be what I have. I'm gonna put it in there as much as will go. And no problem adding, because you can make it to the top and it'll be fine. For flavoring, I'm doing some lime. I don't like the peel in it. You can use the peel, but I don't like the pulp as much with the peel in it. So that's why I'm doing that. So that's lime. And then I have some ginger that I left some of the skin on. You can do that. Put that in, and then I'm doing some apple. And that's to flavor it. You'd be surprised how much sweetness comes through with just an apple. And add more fruit. If you feel like you're not used to it, start gradually and start easy. Start with something you like. So now I'm going to blend it up. I'm going to add a little water just to make it go a little faster, which you can measure that, or you could just do what I did, which is spill most of it. All right, it is liquefied enough to pour into a nut milk bag. You can use cheesecloth and a strainer. See how the blender got very hot. It had to do a lot in order to make this liquefy. But I've never had the Vitamix fail. No matter what I add, it seems to do its job. And I'm going to squeeze this out. This will take a few minutes. Okay, I had a big chunk of pulp come out, but that's okay. I can still save that. Okay, so I've strained it, and I'm going to pour this in the glass. This is going to be a very bitter juice. So I'm going to squeeze more lime juice in there. But usually if you have simpler greens like romaine lettuce, kale is very good, celery, with an apple it'll make it really sweet. But I don't mind this. I like the bitter. You can also do green smoothies, obviously, where you add a lot more fruit and then just keep it. You don't have to strain it at all. But it's good. Now for the pulp, I'm going to put some of it in our lunch, which is going to be meatballs. So I'm going to take some of this. There's lots of things to do with the pulp. You can dehydrate it, you can make crackers, there's just all sorts of things. But when it comes to putting it into sausage and meatballs, you can't beat it. So whenever I make that, I just always have this on my hands just to, since you're dealing with meat. I also have in this recipe, I've got some kidney and heart bits. to add to the nutritional flavor. But mainly I kept this waiting for the green pulp. Okay, so I've got my meatballs ready to go because I'm going to fry those up and I'm going to put a little tomato sauce on a layer of greens. So I'm going to take kale. I love kale for this. Collard greens or Swiss chard would work well. And I cut it up into as thin as I can. It goes faster that way. You can parboil these kind of greens, like partially boil them, which is actually what I'm going to do. Kind of a stir fry, kind of a boil. And they cook quickly, and my kids love kale stir fried this way. It almost tastes sweet. I don't do the stems, so I leave the stems out. I also have sliced onion, and in here I've got some chopped garlic. So I use palm oil. It's a great cooking oil. A lot of saturated fat in that, and very stable and non-reactive with the pot or the food. So this is a great nutritious cooking oil. And once that heats, then I'm going to add the garlic and the onion and then the kale, and if I need to, I'm going to add a little bit of water. So I'm going to first cook the onions and the garlic. Get those browned a little bit. Add the kale, and it takes only maybe 2 or 3 minutes to get it where we like it. You don't want to overcook greens. That's our biggest. It's easy to overcook them because they don't need long, to just soften them enough to make them more digestible. Of course, ideally, they're juice. That's where you get the most nutrition. However, cooking them is still great. So I've got those, and then I'm going to add my kale. I'm going to add a little bit of water, just so it doesn't burn. I'm going to add salt and pepper, and that's it. I've got that, and at the same time I'm getting my meatballs ready. Okay, so I've got the meatballs ready, and they're just cooking lightly in palm oil. You can use butter, is delicious too. And once those are ready, I'll serve those on top of the kale, and we've got a meal. Okay, so my meatballs / chopped up meat is ready. Cooks faster when I chop it up. And I just put my kale there. Put some meat on top. And then a little bit of tomato sauce. And there you have it. Cooking and preparing greens. Thanks for watching this edition of the Natural Year Challenge Month 4 Greens.